challenge of today is finding the perfect frame using focus, highlights and shadows. Can we do it?
Please, Genie, grant me engagement.
Your content is mid.
But how can I fix it? More camera gear?
Give me a cinematic shot list.
Zoom in on your pores for dramatic tension.
Bro, what?
So another day, another vlog, walking around my neighborhood, practicing cinematography, talking to the camera, and all of the steps involved in post-production. It's a grey day, so there's not much interesting to film. So I'm testing out the difference between a variable ND and now a fixed ND. So I'm going a bit overboard and using a 64 6-stop. So we'll see if the colors are better. So I started watching a new podcast on Apple Podcasts, editors on editing. It's not a watchable, you got to listen to it. I'm really enjoying like studying the art of filmmaking and the kind of the science behind the art. I'm busy watching the episode on Sinners, all the drafts that they needed to make and the one that they already went with, and then sticking with their vision as opposed to what the feedback the test screenings were giving. A lot of juicy details along the way that I'm sure will be helpful to me. Any one of these days I will be making some experimental short films. So everything I'm doing now is essentially practicing for that. The approach that Stanley took, I recently read 2 books, biographies of Stanley Kubrick. I'm kind of taking that approach of like deep research before making something. And it's not to say that research alone can allow you to properly portray a culture or an idea. But I'd like to think that for the most part, like a complete immersion in filmmaking will make my attempt at entertaining these ideas a bit more entertaining. In other news, I'm back to using a tripod again. What I noticed for the Netherlands is quite a few hills. I wouldn't say hills, but uneven ground due to the fact that half of it is most likely sand. Getting stable shots on uneven ground with a mini light stand tripod thingy is not ideal, so I've gone back to using my tripod. Works a lot better. Setup time I'm not a fan of in any tripod. I don't think there'll be a single tripod that will solve this problem, but I'm trying to perfect the art of utilizing minimal gear. And I'm doing this because I'll probably be shooting and starting in a lot of these shorts until it gets traction. This is a very nice spot to film. So I don't want to have unnecessary gear. I want to have the minimal, lightest, most practical gear that can do quite a few different things at once. Found this nice landmark. It is a wooden monument with 4 pillars, 4 massive wooden pillars. I'm not sure what kind of wood it's made out of, but I think the gist of it is paying tribute to the dikes. And it was commissioned by the prince, or the king now. And it has this really cool emblem over here of a man on a horse. Very cool. And there's some seats around it. And then there's also these chairs over here that have weird symbols on them. It'll be on part of the cinematic edit that I put later, but it's got these symbols on them. It's definitely not witchcraft or like apart from the dikes, it does seem a bit like what you used to burn a witch on. I'm back onto Blink, which I think I read for most of it, or I listened to most of it, and then kind of lost interest. You know, I think there's a fine line for me. It's the same with Duped, another book on like the research on spotting liars. It's such intense number crunching that they use to figure out, like, can someone tell if you're lying, and are there people with natural abilities in spotting liars? It's so close to chance, you know, that it somewhat discredits the people who can spot a liar. But that's neither here nor there. The point that I was trying to make is that there's such a fine line between science and theory that keeps someone like myself engaged. And that's why I've got so much respect for the way Nassim Taleb presents his information, because it's not only dense, often counterintuitive findings, but it's so entertaining that while you're getting schooled, you're laughing, which is for me the best the best way I find I learn. More and more, the more I get into cinematography and using my camera, the amount of variables in finding the right frame is so vast that there is definitely a payoff to physically setting a frame as opposed to compositing the scene in post, or in the future using AI. And I'm not gonna lie, for me it's like that experimenting on what's cool and what's worked, especially now out in public in not so ideal conditions where you have a grey sky, so you don't have that like sunset, sunrise, dreamy, like what we consider holiday look. But finding something else that's just as interesting in the conditions that I have is proving to be a nice challenge. So, in hindsight, I think the challenge of today was